The world has gone mad hunting down this Karen who caused a scene at a baseball game last week. Forget the witch hunt. The punishment is already built in.
She thought she was walking away with a little keepsake, something she could brag about later, but instead, she walked straight into the flames of the internet's rage. That one baseball wasn't just leather and stitches, it turned into a weapon. A child's joy was ripped apart, and suddenly, an ordinary woman became the villain in a scandal no one saw coming. The internet didn't waste time, it already gave her a name. Phillies Karen. And here's the real shocker. It's not just about what she did in the stands that night. It's about what unraveled after. The bat cracked, the crowd roared, and Harrison Bader's home run soared high into the Miami night sky. For most people, that moment would have been magic. A father, Drew Feltwell, in the stands with his son Lincoln, tracked the ball like a pro, caught it cleanly without shoving anyone, and slid it straight into his boy's glove. No chaos, no fight, just pure baseball bliss. A dad creating a story his son would never forget. The cameras captured it perfectly. Lincoln's grin, fans clapping, that sparkle of magic only baseball can deliver. But seconds later, that perfect picture shattered. Out of nowhere stormed a woman in Phillies gear, finger wagging, voice sharp, body language screaming confrontation. Witnesses swear she shouted, "That's my ball." The entire stadium froze. Drew tried to reason with her, pointing out the seats were empty, but reason wasn't welcome here. Little Lincoln's hands clutched tighter around his glove. And then, the breaking point. Drew caved. In front of everyone, he pulled the ball from his son's glove and handed it over. Fans claim they saw her smirk, some even swear she flashed a smug little gesture. What no one denied, the tidal wave of boos that came crashing down through Lone Depot Park. In that instant, a kid lost his ball, a dad lost his power of choice, and a stranger became a villain.
So, the basic rule is foul ball, home run, adults involved, it's a scrum, right? And it's just a fight to the finish. Until someone secures the ball and holds it up, then it's their ball.
And then the internet got its hands on it. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. The clips spread like wildfire. Her face, her actions, everything was memed, mocked, and replayed. She wasn't anonymous anymore. She was branded, Phillies Karen. Here's the wild contradiction. She thought she walked away clutching a souvenir, but what she really walked into was internet infamy. Commentators compared her to past villains of viral culture. Bagel Boss Guy, Central Park Karen, even that dad at Yankee Stadium who once yanked a foul ball from a child. The boos from the ballpark didn't stop there. They followed her online. One TikTok edit even added Darth Vader's Imperial March as she stomped off. On Twitter, someone wrote, "If you can stare into a kid's eyes and steal his ball, congratulations, you're the villain now." But once the mob gave her a name, the hunt was on. Online detectives froze frames, zoomed into screenshots, launched Reddit threads filled with speculation. Rumors swirled. Some claimed she worked at a New Jersey school. Others insisted she'd been spotted at other games in different jerseys. Innocent women were even dragged into the mess, forced to publicly deny being the Karen. The line between truth and gossip blurred until it wasn't about facts anymore. It was about the internet's hunger to create a villain. Phillies Karen had been written into America's favorite new morality play, and the script wasn't hers to control anymore.
The other rules are, if there's a kid involved in the scrum and you're aware of it as an adult, you back off because you want the kid to get it. And if you catch a ball and it's not like, Aaron Judge's 500th career home run or something, sell for $500,000, you take the photo with it, you're happy, then you toss it to the nearest kid.
The boos inside the stadium were loud, but online, they were deafening. Within an hour, the clip had jumped from sports Twitter to TikTok edits, Instagram meme pages, and news outlets that had nothing to do with baseball. TikTok creators slowed the clip down, added ominous soundtracks, captions like, "Protect Lincoln at all costs." Instagram memes photoshopped the ball into a golden crown on her head. Even ushers in the section, people said, looked frozen, unsure if they should step in. That detail only fueled the fire. How could grown adults just stand by while a kid's magic moment was ripped away? This wasn't just about baseball etiquette anymore. This was about parenting, morality, and the blurred line between adults and children. Sports radio callers labeled it the new Bartman moment, but unlike Steve Bartman back in 2003, who interfered with the Cubs' play, this scandal wasn't about a rule. It was about innocence. Fans weren't debating baseball anymore. They were debating decency. One radio caller said it bluntly, "Adults can fight over a ball all they want, but if there's a kid's glove in the picture, you walk away." End of story.
truly undefeated. They have been trying to find this woman. And I know she's probably waking up like, oh my gosh, what did I do? But that was your actions. And I know once they find her, she's probably gonna try to play victim and say, I didn't mean to, I'm so sorry. Ma'am, it is too late for all.
The debate wasn't just inside the ballpark anymore. It was spilling into living rooms, car rides, and national television. On one hand, people argued Drew did the right thing. He protected his son by not escalating into a nasty public scene. On the other, critics claimed he sent the wrong message, that sometimes standing your ground matters more than keeping the peace. And suddenly, this wasn't just a fight over a baseball. It became a battle of parenting philosophies. Team Drew versus Team Stand Your Ground. Both sides dug in deep online. Comment sections filled with arguments, hashtags, and hot takes. Meanwhile, Lincoln, just 10 years old, became more than a kid. He became a symbol. His simple, heartbreaking quote to NBC 10, "I wasn't very happy that we had to give it to her, but we can't win," echoed everywhere. That quiet, resigned voice cut deeper than any meme could. Edits of Lincoln's sad little face layered with emotional music went viral. Strangers who had never even watched a baseball game were suddenly sharing his clip, calling him the internet's tiny hero. But with that attention came chaos. The online hunt didn't slow down, it escalated. At least 2 innocent women were falsely accused on Reddit. One of them had to post on Facebook joking, "I'd love to be that thin and move that fast, but sorry, not me." The humor was her way to survive it, but the damage was clear. The scandal wasn't just targeting one woman anymore, it was dragging strangers into the storm. It was proof of how quickly the internet can crown a villain and how cruelly it can get the wrong person. By midweek, the conversation had shifted. This wasn't just about Phillies Karen anymore. It was about all of us, about what the internet does when it gets a villain in its grip. People weren't only booing her, they were asking themselves, what would I have done? And that uncomfortable self-reflection, that's what kept the story burning hotter with every share. But then, just when everyone thought the scandal had peaked, the institutions stepped in, and that's when the whole thing leveled up. First came the Marlins staff. A few innings later, stadium workers appeared in Lincoln's section carrying giant bags stuffed with team merch, jerseys, hats, bobbleheads, the works. The cameras panned to Lincoln and his sister clutching the gear like it was treasure. The crowd cheering louder for that giveaway than they did for the home run itself. It was a redemption arc, live and unplanned, a gesture tailor-made for social media. But the Phillies weren't going to sit back and let their image take a hit either. After the game, Lincoln was escorted right into the locker room to meet Harrison Bader, the guy who hit the home run in the first place. And in front of flashing cameras, Bader handed Lincoln a signed bat almost as tall as he was. The smile on that boy's face? Priceless. Commentators said it looked like the Phillies weren't just giving a kid back his joy, they were protecting the very image of baseball. But even that moment split fans. On Reddit, someone wrote, "If she never grabbed the ball, this kid goes home empty-handed. Now he's got a signed bat, free merch, and viral fame. Feels like bad behavior got rewarded, and that's when the scandal took a sharp, bizarre turn straight into the hands of corporate America. Marcus Lemonis, the CEO of Camping World, jumped into the storm. He announced on X, Twitter, that he was personally sending the Feltwell family to the World Series. On top of that, he threw in a brand new RV. Just like that, Drew went from a dad in the stands to dad of the year. Screenshots of the tweet spread like wildfire. People joked Lincoln had somehow upgraded from catching a baseball to scoring a family road trip fantasy. Parents online even admitted they were jealous. One comment read, "My kid's never going to get me a free RV just for catching a ball." But the real jaw-dropper came from Blowout Cards, a giant in the trading card world. They publicly offered Phillies Karen $5,000 for the baseball, but with a catch. She had to return it with the words, "I'm sorry," handwritten across the leather. It was part ransom note, part reality TV stunt, and fans instantly latched on. Analysts agreed. It wasn't about the ball's actual value. It was about monetizing public shame, turning scandal into a marketing goldmine. Headlines exploded. What started as a single confrontation in the stands had now escalated into a circus of corporate PR stunts, brand positioning, and public morality plays. And yet, through all of it, the woman at the center of it all stayed silent. No interviews, no apology, no social media posts, nothing. Fans speculated wildly. Some swore she was attending other games in disguise. Others believed she was hiding, waiting for the storm to die down. But here's the cruel irony of 2025. Silence doesn't calm the mob, it's gasoline. Every day she stayed quiet, the internet grew louder. Fake apology notes started circulating, parody memes of what people thought she should say. One viral fake read, "I'm sorry to Lincoln, to baseball, and to everyone, except the Marlins." The joke made people laugh, but it underscored a terrifying truth. An entire country was now holding its breath, waiting for one woman in a Phillies jersey to break her silence. The scandal wasn't just surviving, it was mutating. What started as boos in a stadium had now climbed onto the biggest stages in America. Biggest stage. Mainstream outlets picked it up, turning Phillies Karen into more than just a viral meme. She had become a cultural case study, a mirror America was suddenly staring into. Megyn Kelly played the clip on her show, her voice dripping with disbelief as she replayed the slow-motion moment of Lincoln's empty glove. On her panel, the arguments flew like it was a courtroom trial. One analyst said Drew was a good father for showing humility, teaching his son that sometimes walking away is wiser than escalating. But another shot back with venom. Giving in to bullies isn't humility, it's surrender. And that was it. The story wasn't about a baseball anymore. It was about how parents raise their children, about whether backing down is weakness or wisdom. People weren't just watching, they were debating philosophies of parenting on national TV. Columnists jumped in, comparing the incident to the infamous Steve Bartman moment in 2003, when a Cubs fan reached for a foul ball and derailed an entire season. But this was different. Bartman messed with a game. Phillies Karen messed with a child's innocence. That difference made the scandal balloon from a sports controversy into a cultural firestorm. Some writers went even further. They said it was a metaphor for 2025 itself, a world where adults refuse to yield, even when a child is caught in the middle. And when the comedians circled in, the incident transformed into a national punchline. Late-night hosts pounced. One sneered. Philly fans once booed Santa Claus. Of course they'd boo a woman who stole a ball from a kid. Another quipped, Lincoln got more free merch in one night than some rookies get their entire first season. Clips of these jokes bounced around YouTube, ricocheting across timelines, adding a new layer of fuel, laughter. The woman wasn't just infamous now, she was ridiculous. But while the world was laughing at her, it was also lifting up Lincoln. Images of the boy holding his glove, empty and solemn, circulated like an icon of lost innocence. His quiet little line, "We can't win," became a rallying cry. Commentators compared him to other viral kids from the past, the apparently kid at the state fair, the little boy who cried when LeBron left Cleveland. But this time, it wasn't funny, it was heartbreak. And that's when the scandal hit its peak. The woman in the Phillies jersey was no longer just a villain. She was a cultural metaphor, a meme, a late-night joke, and a giant question mark hanging over the nation. Everyone wanted to know, when would she speak? Would she ever? So what's next? Does Phillies Karen take the deal, sign the ball, and claw her way toward redemption? Or does she stay silent, letting the mob define her forever? And maybe the bigger question, who's next? Who will be the next ordinary fan turned into America's newest viral villain? Because if this saga proves anything, it's that scandals don't just come from celebrities, politicians, or Hollywood drama. Sometimes they come from the cheap seats. Sometimes they start with nothing more than a foul ball. And if one baseball can turn a dad into a hero, a boy into a symbol, and a stranger into a meme, then imagine what happens at the next viral meltdown.